Well, the first time I seen you acting was in Chat and Chew, and I tell you, I'm not one for much plays and things like that, but that was a production that was something that I've never seen before. If you wouldn't mind, tell me a little bit about what Chat and Chew was, and in kind of just what was your role there?
Chat and Chew was the most authentic thing to hit Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Before Wildin' Out and all that other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
we took raw, authentic talent, no rehearsals, no script. We sat down, we talked about concepts, we talked about situational things. We took topics, and normally people would create a panel of discussion.
Okay.
So we took those things, and instead of it being a discussion, we turned it into a scene. So we became, whatever that situation was, single woman, divorced, husband cheating, um, financial issues, church, all the above, anything that you can think of. We took those topics. We were interactive with our audience as well. So it was amazing.
Welcome to another edition of Future Leaders Podcast. Today we have a special guest, a young lady who's doing some amazing things. So without any interruption, let's go straight into it. Today, would you mind just give us a quick introduction of who you are?
Thank you for having me. I am yours truly, Nicole Colorme Actress, born and raised Charlotte, North Carolina, writer, director, acting coach, and actress.
Well, so much she does, I tell you. When you're around her, be intrigued because you're going to be enlightening with her personality. I have a sister, Nicole. And I'm telling you, when I met you, I said, man, yeah, I think it's in the name. I don't know, but they definitely remind me one of another. But with that, how long have you been doing acting?
Well, that's a great question. I always tell people I came out the womb acting up, truthfully. For a long time, I was that girl that was in every talent show, every play when I was in as young as elementary school, and have continued literally doing the same thing in my adult life. For a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So you say you do not only acting, but you direct, you do various different things. So what does that look like? How does that work for you?
It's a lot, but not to me.
Okay.
For me, I touch every realm of the arts.
Mm-hmm.
I love writing because I'm a creator. I'm a visionary, so I can see the story on paper, and then I'm really good with bringing it to life.
Okay.
So for me, it goes all hand in hand. That vision to the theatrics of seeing something, people interacting and being engaged. So taking the vision to putting it on paper, to being able to articulate what it is that I want to illustrate.
Yes.
When people get on stage or in front of the camera, as well as just being able to pull them to the side and say, hey, let's work on this. So then it's the instructive and the teaching piece. And then just being an actress, just loving every realm of the arts and being able to tell the story of that woman, that mother, that daughter, and just bringing it to life. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, when you act, you primarily, I know it's different variables of acting. You do more comedy, I do drama, you do a little bit of everything. What's some of your styles of acting?
Well, I can tell you what I don't do. I do not do horror.
Oh, man, yeah.
that ain't it. That's not it.
Okay.
I do love to stay in the theatrical realm. I love comedy, so I touch comedy as well. But yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, what's some of the projects that you had a privilege of doing that you can say this is one that's must see? What's something you can say?
Oh man. I was a part of one production by Eric Goodwin. It was my favorite. If You Cook, I'll Clean. I played the lead role, Miss Juliet. In that, it was work. It stretched me so much. I had to sing.
Okay.
And I actually had to work with a vocal coach.
Wow.
And really, work on like the acoustics on stage and the echoes and being able to sing between, everything and act at the same time. So it stretched me, I'm in every scene. I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm happy, I'm in love, I'm disengaged, it just all the above. She was the character was so layered. And so it was really, I mean, that it was a long time ago, a couple years ago, but it was one production that I really
Okay.
just really loved, and it was his. It was great.
Well, that's good. And what's the name again?
Eric Goodwin.
Okay.
And it was If You Cook, I'll Clean.
Okay.
So
And this
it
was a
really
stage
good.
play?
It was a stage play.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I seen you acting was in Chad and Chew. And I tell you, I'm not one for much plays and things like that, but that was a production that was something that I've never seen before. If you wouldn't mind, tell me a little bit about what Chat and Chew was and kind of just what was your role there?
Chat and Chew was the most authentic thing to hit Charlotte, North Carolina. Before Wildin' Out and all that other stuff, we took raw, authentic talent, no rehearsals, no script. We sat down, we talked about concepts, we talked about situational things. We took topics and normally people would create a panel of discussion. Okay. So we took those things and instead of it being a discussion, we turned it into a scene. So we became, whatever that situation was, single woman, divorced, husband cheating, financial issues, church, all the above, anything that you can think of. We took those topics. We were interactive with our audience as well. So it was amazing. It was very authentic.
Yes.
So you never knew what you were going to get. You could come in and think you're just looking in for a show, but it was way more than that. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that was something that really piqued my interest. And from there, I connected with the gentleman who actually put that project together, enough said, and we actually started some other projects together, and we have an upcoming event called Picture Pages, which is a spin-off similar to what Chat and Chew was about. And so we've done several productions of that, and man, when I say we've had people come to us in tears, but this is how that it really has touched them in a different way from your regular acting. And so you have comedy, you have a live band going on. You so many different things that just keep you engaged, and everybody really walks away feeling like they really enjoyed themselves. Yeah. So we've got one coming up on November the 12th, and we got some information going to be shared with you about that up and coming. So yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait.
She's one of the actors and one of whatever else she does going to be a part of that production as well, the one coming up. So we look forward to that. And but with that, what's some of the other things? I know you got a podcast, you got so many other things. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing. What is your podcast about?
All right, so the Colorme Actress show, I started my podcast roughly in 2016. Originally, I had two co-hosts at the time, Eric Goodwin, who I mentioned. I had Graham Williams as well. They were actually two of my my co-stars in different productions that I was in. And so the show originally was a stem off of and introducing my acting class, to be honest with you. It was kind of like doing live kind of reenactments on the radio. And that's what we started doing. So we did reenactments of certain things where you can't see us, but you can visually, and hear it, And I took it kind of where I kind of got the concept. Do you remember the Tom Jordan Morning Show?
Yeah.
So I kind of took it from there, but I was like, I'm going to push this just a little bit further, and really bring out some of the things that we were currently in or writing, or just, I know for Black History Month, we did a reenactment of Martin Luther King, of his mom. It was just, his mom's in the church when he was murdered, and all these other things that you start to research and all this. And so we took these things and was like, well, what if we were there? What if we were just the people in the congregation? And so we did reenactments for it. And so my podcast relates to the theatrical side of things, but I also am engaged with interviewing, various peoples and various different things. So one of my segment was my hooper, which is basketball related. My son, who's a hooper, but I was a single mom. So for those mothers that support their hooper and all that we go through and things that we do, and so just the platform is there's no limit to what I touch and what we go and discuss, but ultimately the basis and the premises of the show is the theatrical side of everything. So it touches a wide range of things. But I'll be having some coaches, I'll be having some players. I hope to have my dentist on the show as well.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to share, because it leads me right into what this platform is all about. It's about leadership. It's about when you think of leadership, what do you think of?
Well, I used to, when I was younger, leadership meant something different.
Okay.
And as I've gotten older, I realized you really can't lead until you've been through some things, until you've had an opportunity to fall, I won't say fail. Some people say fail. I don't use fail, but until you've had the opportunity to really see what the fall looks like, feels like, and get up and be an example. So leadership to me is mostly just being an example. Being able to stand before people, and because leadership is a choice. I've realized it's a choice. Like, it doesn't matter what your title is, you have to choose to step ahead and represent and speak when no one else does, and do some things and go without and put someone before you. So leadership is definitely a choice.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Enough Said, the Ultimate Host, and I'm super excited to tell you about the hottest project coming to this side of the Mason-Dixon. Listen, November the 12th, I do mean November the 12th, it's all going down to the Visual Light Theater. That's right, Picture Pages is back by popular demand. And when I tell you it's going to give you an opportunity to witness and view the pictures of every page of every author, it's an opportunity to do just that. Imagine authors bringing up these novels, these beautiful masterpieces, and now you have a team of actors that's able to illustrate exactly what the author is saying. We got celebrity chef Mona Arnold in the building. There's nothing like having a good time other than having a good time with your family. My girl Mimi V. Mimi is phenomenal. This sister is absolutely a saint. She's an angel. And not only that, we got my man Keith refreshing. He's like a whirlwind of refreshment. That's right, a whirlwind of refreshment. That's exactly what I would call it, because each and every vocal, each and every note, each and every writing that he brings out, it's all about inspiration. It's all about empowerment. So please make sure you're in the building. November the 12th, it goes down, baby, at the Visual Light Theater. Tickets are only $35. Tickets are only $35. So you might as well go on and invest in your life and come on and get inspired. It's Picture Pages, hosted by yours truly, Enough Said, the Ultimate Host. Tell your mama them, Enough Said. Let's go.
I'll tell you with the definition that, I'm not saying this Webster's definition, but with John Maxwell's definition is influence. And basically saying that everyone has some space of influence in an area that, whether it's good or bad, but that's an area that they lead in. And so in acting, you have influence in that area. And so not only just from the stage of an actress, but you also as a director and other fields, even in the place of podcasting, now you're gaining influence in that space. So if we take it back to this realm of you being a director, what's your style of directing, but also how do you interact and how do you get others to buy in and to give their best when you're directing?
That's a great question. I love that question. So for me, it's touching every realm of it. So if there's something that I want from you, I'm very hands-on. So if it's something that I want from you, I can actually give you an example of what I want, which is where the Colorme Actress comes in, and being an acting coach. So I'm never going to direct something that I can't show you that I want. So I'm a little bit different. I'm a lot more hands-on. I direct for those that have a handicap. So you want to touch everybody. And so it's not just about who can hear you or who can see you. It's for those that could not, and can you still touch them and reach them. So I'm big on that. So I'm very hands-on.
Yeah, I want to dive into that because we were talking right before we came on, and I was telling about some areas I know I'm working on. I know I have to work on my pronunciations and not mumbling. My wife get on me about that. But
most men mumble.
We're gonna get right to the point. We ain't gonna say a whole lot to get there. So, but that's something I know in this space I have to get better in. You kind of give me some different things because you have some experiences and through work and through other things that you have had some some times when you work with other individuals and they have rose to the occasion. If you don't mind, share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So before one of the biggest things is my father was deaf.
Okay.
So before I learned sign language, I was very expressive, body language, hand movement, as you can see. And so I literally had to learn how to gauge that. The hand movement, because I'm not signing. So then when I'm talking, I'm using my hands, and on stage it was a problem as well when I first started coming into theater, because I was very expressive. So it bode well. I had to learn how to balance it in corporate America, and then I had to learn how to balance it even in the arts, ironically. So I had a young man when I got more into teaching acting classes. I realized people are really struggling. That's why they don't want to be on stage. They don't want to do it because they have certain restrictions, deaf or blind or speech impediments, any type of just different ranges of handicap or struggle or whatever. So I was like, wow, what if we take those things and we not look at them like they're a struggle, and I just work with you with where you are. So I had a young kid. He was in one of my productions. I taught a school. They contracted me to come in, taught my acting class. It was a 6-week class, and then they had a big performance at the end of the year. It might have been a little longer than 6 weeks. It might have been about 15 weeks, actually, now that I think about it. This gentleman had a speech impediment. He stuttered really, really bad. For me, I do not focus on handicap. If you have a heart and desire to act, I can pull things out of people. And so I took him where he was. I told him we're not gonna put focus on the stuttering or the speech impediment. We're gonna focus on what I need from you. So I might get you to say it over and over again or a different way, but I'm gonna get what I need from you. So when I met with his dad, and his dad said, "How's he doing?" I said, "He's doing great." I said, "He's actually the lead role in my production."
Wow.
And his dad laughed. And I was looking at him like, what's so funny? Like, why is he laughing? And he said, my son stutters. There's no way he's going to be able to do the lead role. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he won't be able to with that type of mindset. But with me, I'm not worried about that. So did the show. He did phenomenal. And at the end, his dad was in tears and said, oh my gosh, I've never heard him talk that long without stuttering. I take no praise from that. All I know is I was raised by a man that was deaf, and it never hindered him. He never let it stop him. So I wasn't going to let that stop him.
Yeah. I think about Steve Harvey's story. I'm not familiar with his story. And I think he may have been, it was 6th grade, somewhere in elementary. And his teacher asked him to write down what they want to do in the future. And he wrote his paper up and handed it in. And the teacher called him last. And it's to make a mockery of him because he stuttered. And he wrote on his paper that one day I'm going to be on TV. And she was like, how you going to be on TV when you stutter? And just kind of made him feel bad about that. But now you fast forward to where he's at now.
Yeah.
And so he said his dad always encouraged him. But just to know that it's still possible if you believe. So don't look at where you are and count yourself out. If you have a desire to do something, like even in this space, I had talent all around me, from the wife to so many others who I feel is gifted in this space. When God said, "No, I need you to step out there," and I said, "Well, we're gonna get this going." Just be willing to be ugly in the beginning in order for yourself to become that butterfly that you should become. But you have to get started in order to get going, in order to become what you see yourself to be. Now, so how did you get started with acting?
So it's a little. So I told you I've always been doing it when I was in school, but I became a young mom. I had my son. Well, I was pregnant at 17 and had my son at 18, and so life changed. I was that athlete. I was that girl. She's not gonna be pregnant in high school. Like, I was that girl, and I did not. I lost my vision for me because now something has changed. Now I am a mom, and the authentic parts of me and what I was capable to do was always there. And so I was like, how do I hold on to that and still do? Well, then I get hit with two different tragedies. My son's father passed away, and then my father passed away, and I honestly, I just felt like I was just sinking. And I always, you think college fixes things to tell you where your career is, make this money, and all of that has changed now.
Okay.
Because I have my son, and now I don't have two influential men in his life now. So all I could do was become different characters, to be honest with you, and use the stage as my playground to release, just certain things, different roles that I got to play. And I could cry on stage, I could do different things, and I could escape on stage.
Wow.
So I used the Harry McDowell, I'm trying to remember our first show. Oh my gosh, it's so long. But I played Flossie, one of the old ladies. Actually, before that, it was a thug named Nick. Okay. And I couldn't believe I took on that role. I was like, what? I'm like the girliest girl, 5'11", but I'm the girliest girl. And so I took this role on, and I was just like, why am I doing this role? But I got a chance to like just release at that time. So tragedy is what got me really like into my professional career. And it was different for me then, of course, than it is now. But yeah.
Did you have any schooling in acting, or did you pretty much just step in? You always had that gift.
The gift has been there.
Okay.
My grandmother raised us on a scripture, Psalms 9:1, and it says, "I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart, and I will show forth all thy marvelous works." And it took me a long time to understand all thy marvelous works, because I couldn't, like, to your point, it's like, how do you deal with all these variations of what you do? And it's like, I grew up, well, if you got 10 talents, you use them all. So that's kind of, now I shy away from singing, but it's one of those things like where that scripture has always stayed with us. So
yeah, I know I'm hearing back in my mind, even though I want to go somewhere else. My wife is talking to me, and she is, I ain't gonna say she knows it, but she's very inquisitive. And she will ask the question, let's go back to where you just came from. I know it's a dark moment in your past. If you don't mind, I'll let you get free on when you was in that stage when you had lost your son's father and your dad. If you can, just as far as you want to go with it, it's kind of just let us know what life was for you at that time.
So, my son's father was my high school sweetheart, my best friend. He had epileptic seizures. That is how he passed away. Okay. Very, very spiritual bond between us as friends. Okay. There were times where, I knew if I didn't see him in the morning at school, I found out later that he had a seizure. Wow. So for a long time, he didn't want me to know he had seizures. It was something that he didn't want me to know. Okay. And as a immature teenager, I was like, what does that mean? Like, what is a seizure? Yeah. So I broke up with him. I was just like, what is that? Wow. I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, I don't know what that seizure thing is, but just horrible to me looking back. I just didn't understand. But the journey, I tell people, no one ever wakes up and says, you know what, today I think I want to be a single mom. Or, today's a good day to be a single mom. Like, nobody does that, right? And so we broke up, and our families, things were tough right before he passed away, just from being adolescent, just going from the adolescence, trying to become parents, very immature. And right before he passed away, we were actually getting back together, working on getting back together. Things were really, really great, very nice. And we talked on the phone. He used to work in Winston-Salem, so he would travel back and forth between Charlotte and Winston. And this one particular time, we were on the phone, and Makai was, my son, Makai, was in the bed or whatever the case may be, but we were on the phone and talking, and before I knew it, I'm like, look, I'm tired, I gotta get up in the morning, it's late. And we were both just excited to just be talking again and just be like working on fixing our family. And so we stayed on the phone, and he was like, if you get off the phone, you never know when you'll talk to me again. And I just remember being like, why do you always say stuff like that? Like, I hate when you say stuff like that. But that night is when he passed away. And the next day, like I normally would when he would be out of town, I tried to call his dad so that he could talk to him. My son could talk to him, and he didn't answer. And immediately I called my mom. I was like, Mom, something's wrong. She said, well, just give it some time. Y'all are just, getting things back together. Just give it some time. And I was just like, I just feel like something's wrong. So 2 weeks later, he had passed away. My dad got sick right during that time and got moved from hospital to hospice. That was very tough with my dad, just simply because he was a tall man, and he was also deaf. So when something was wrong, he couldn't, the nurses, they would try to talk to him, and they would say he's non-responsive. So they would leave right out of the room and cut the lights back off. So, not to mention what your family goes through. So when you lose someone, or someone is sick, or it's a lot on family. Whether your family is close, distant, it's a lot. So it was very heavy, because I went from one thing to the other. So it was very, very heavy.
Wow. And you found your way to keep you sane. Your therapy was through acting.
Yeah. because it was, you go from losing someone so influential in your life. I was a daddy's girl. Okay. That was my guy. I felt like he was the only one that really understood me. Loved my mom, but I was a daddy's girl. But yeah, that's what I leaned on. That's what I fell back on. Where it was the theatrics.
Okay. Well, even now, I guess, what do you, I guess, when you're in those moments, what's some of the ways that when you think back, because my mother passed back a while ago, and when you're talking, kind of remind me of some things we had to go through. My mother was diabetic, and so for so long, her health started going down until she lost her sight, was a double amputee, a lot of stuff me and my sister had to do, just be there day in and day out, do everything basically on her behalf. And so that was a tough time. It was a lot for anyone to try to do, and see your parent go through so much, and making sure that no one take advantage of them when you're in the hospital. I can imagine you probably, like my sister, have some conversations.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that for anyone to have to see. But in now thinking, my mother passed back in 2020, that with you're going through those moments in your time and life get heavy, what do you reflect back on that you can hear your father speaking to you, encouraging you to keep going? Do you have those moments?
I do, actually.
Okay.
A lot. It's crazy because it hits, like, it gets heavy sometimes, because now my son is coming into his manhood.
Okay.
And that lack of guidance for him. And so there's times where it's like, I can't, if I could change that, I would, but because I could not hear my dad, but I could, he would always like try to sing like a gospel song, and he would hold his heart, and he would do like this. He always took us to church, but my dad had just a beautiful smile, and just like the way that he would walk into a room and the way that he touched people. I literally saw a deaf man touch people. Wow. And his presence alone. And so I have the essence of him. His grandson is the essence of him. And so it's amazing to me how much he's still very, very alive, very much so a part of me and everything that I do. I do dedicate certain parts in my show that is non-speaking. In every show that I do, at least for about 3 minutes. And it's acting going on. Wow. But it's dedicated to the hearing impaired. So I do those things, but I think about him all the time. It helps me stay focused on, when you lose someone, I tell people we different types of people, especially like early on. Yeah. When you lose influential people, you look at life differently. You look at drama feel things differently. You don't surround yourself with a lot of stuff. I'm stronger because of what I had to endure. So
And so what we go through, we grow through. And so, definitely you could say we all become a better person because of those relationships we've had, and also some of the setbacks we had to go through. I can attest to a lot of things that, especially going through COVID, we had to adjust, pivot,
Yeah.
and make some adjustments in our life, and now we're better because of some of the adjustments we had to make. And so now what's next in this next chapter, and where you at now? What's where you see yourself moving towards, and even doing bigger and better?
Definitely want to. I'm writing more. Started back writing. Writing takes you down a tunnel.
Okay.
So I'm back to writing. Definitely film.
Mhm.
Definitely film. For me, more producing. I tell people, Colorme Actress is gonna retire from acting.
Okay.
So I want to do more stuff behind the scenes, more directing, more coaching and teaching. But yeah, that's like my big vision or dream.
Wow. Wow. So if anyone wants to get part of what you got going on, how could they go about connecting with you? So
Well, I'm on every social media platform there is. You can get in touch with me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I am a TikToker. So I love that stuff. Just reach out to me. Also have my email, cmactress at gmail.com. My website is colormeactress.com. So you feel free to go there, message me there. But there is no problem getting in touch with me. It's a lot of people that are, connected in this field that, they reach out on social media a lot. So
awesome. And so if you could, what's something that you want to encourage and inspire others who are, whatever lane they're in, whether it's they're looking to get into acting, or what's something that your go-to, I guess you other words to say, that encourages you, that keep you going? What's something that you encourage the people with?
You're not crazy. All the gift that you have is a beautiful thing. Don't suppress it. Understand that you are not supposed to be like everybody else. Remember that blending in only makes other people comfortable. So when you force yourself to blend in, it's for the comfort of others, which makes you uncomfortable. It increases anxiety. You feel a lack of fulfillment. So just remember, to be fulfilled in life, make sure that you focus on you. Make sure that you get to know you, and those things that you had to walk away from that you really love to do, tap back into that. Connect yourself around people that are doing that. And get back to a point where you just learn to smile just from simply existing and being you. So
Awesome. Best said. And so we thank y'all for taking the time to watch another edition of Future Leaders Podcast. And please like, please share, and keep on coming back. Leave us a good comment, and we look forward to sharing more with you here. Help comments. Be great.